Oh my god, I'm back again with another top 13 episodes list. Only this time it's for the Philip Hinchcliffe era. So let's jump straight in with number 13, The Android Invasion. So the Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane find themselves in a deserted village where the phones aren't working and all the coins are made within the same year. It's an excellent concept that's been used before and since, but that doesn't take away from the overall experience. Number 12. The Sontaran Experiment. The storyline is one of the few basic Doctor Who formulas. Shipwrecked astronauts from an Earth colony are in trouble, and it's up to the Doctor and his companions to save them and defeat the big bad alien menace. And okay, some people might say this is a filler story, but at least it was only 2 episodes long. Could you imagine it being a filler story that had to fill 4 episodes? Now that would have truly been awful. Number 11. Revenge of the Cybermen. I feel this serial gets more negativity thrown at it than it should. Is it the best story ever written? No. Does it deserve the negativity? Absolutely not. But the 2 problems it does have is: 1. It followed possibly one of the best Doctor Who serials ever written, and 2. It wasn't an end of series story. Maybe if the production team switched this serial with the genesis of the Daleks, it may have been received a little better, as that felt more like an end of series story. Oh, and also, this was the first Cyberman story not to include an appearance from Patrick Troughton. Number 10. The Hand of Fear. If I was to sum up this episode, it might sound a bit silly. But basically, Sarah Jane touches a disembodied hand that possesses her. I was right. It does sound silly. But let's forget about that for now, as we concentrate on the ending of an era as we say goodbye to Sarah Jane Smith. The final scene between her and the Fourth Doctor is so well written and acted that I'm willing to bet that those who generally don't like this serial do like that scene. Number 9. The Seeds of Doom. Another story and another classic sci-fi plot, only this time it's about a carnivorous plant that will consume everything on the planet. Almost everything in this serial was perfect. The writing, the acting, even the alien makeup was impressive. Which is something that I think is rare to say when speaking about classic Doctor Who. The only real disappointment was that there was no returning unit personnel. It would have been nice to see the Brigadier or Benton again, even in just a small cameo. Number 8. The Ark in Space. This was the first episode aired during the Philip Hinchcliffe run, and talk about hitting the ground running. Not only did he add an element of horror with a sprinkle of adult themes, he did so without alienating the younger viewers, which in itself is an accomplishment. Also, the storyline is classic sci-fi, as an Ark-like spaceship hopes to one day return to Earth to reboot the planet. It's such a popular science fiction trope that New Who even did a similar story with dinosaurs on a spaceship. The only downside is the villain. I understand its motives, and maybe this is just me, but I just don't care. Maybe if the villain was some kind of space Silurian looking to return the Earth to its former prehistoric glory, I might have been invested. But like I said, maybe it's just me. Number 7. The Brain of Morbius. This is the Doctor Who version of Frankenstein, where a mad scientist is building a body from spare parts for the disembodied brain of an evil Time Lord called Morbius. And I think it's a shame that this renegade Time Lord didn't get a chance to become somewhat of a returning character, as I feel he could have appeared in at least another couple of stories. Either swearing revenge against the Doctor, or finally making Gallifrey suffer for what they originally did to him. But let's talk about the small problem with the brain of Morbius. The other 8 Doctors. Now the intention was for the Battle of Wits was to reveal that Tom Baker was actually the 12th Doctor, which I think would have been a really dumb move if they persisted with it. And it's something I've already tackled in episode 20, so go and check out my updated version. Number 6. Terror of the Zygons. This is the one and only classic Who story to feature the Zygons, and I honestly don't understand why. The concept of an alien that can change their appearance so they look human is classic sci-fi, and they could have done so much more than they actually did. Now I know it may sound like I'm being negative, and I am, just not about this serial because I rather quite like it. Terror of the Zygons could be considered as a nice little callback to the Pertwee era, as many elements established then reappear. And it would be remiss of me not to mention the god-awful Loch Ness Monster puppet. There, I mentioned it. It was bad. So very, very bad. Number 5. The Face of Evil. This serial introduced Leela as a companion, and it must have been so hard for the writers to come up with a new companion after their success with Sarah Jane. But they managed to pull it off by making Leela a completely different character rather than a newer version of Sarah Jane. And if you're still not sold on the serial, I'll just add this. The Fourth Doctor threatens to kill a man with a jelly baby. The only problem I have doesn't actually involve anything from this serial, it's just I wish at some point we got to see the Fourth Doctor's previous adventure on Leela's home planet. Number 4. Pyramids of Mars. An ancient evil being returns to reclaim the planet is a pretty standard Doctor Who plotline, but when you include the imagery of a once great civilization such as the Egyptians, that tends to improve the story, as many people, myself included, are fascinated with ancient Egypt. And I might as well mention it, despite everything I love about this serial, it did create a huge continuity error within Doctor Who, known as the unit dating controversy, which is a topic that deserves its own video in the future. Number 3. A serial I'm probably going to mispronounce, The Talons of Weng-Chiang. This story has so many qualities. Tom Baker excels as a Sherlock Holmes type of doctor, the chemistry between all the actors is fantastic, there are excellent side characters, and the dialogue is superb. Plus, unlike other six-parters, none of the episodes feels like it's been padded out in some areas in order to justify its runtime. And okay, looking back at it now, there may be a touch of racial stereotyping, but let's face it, it's not the worst thing the BBC did during the 1970s. Oh, I went there. And here's an interesting side note. This is the only story from the Tom Baker era in which he is seen not wearing a scarf. Alright, it wasn't that interesting, but I just thought I'd point it out. Number 2. The Deadly Assassin. The Master has returned and he's looking to take revenge on Gallifrey. And that brief synopsis is enough to make any Whovian salivate. I know some Doctor Who fans hate it when the Doctor must return to Gallifrey, as we learn too much about the Time Lords, and with each appearance they lose their mystique. And I kinda see their point, however, this is Gallifrey done right. One of the biggest plot points in Who history is established in The Deadly Assassin, as it's this serial that states that a Time Lord can only regenerate 12 times, allowing a maximum of 13 incarnations. Kind of. Also, it's the first and only story during the show's original run not to feature a companion. And number 1, Genesis of the Daleks. Now, I was a late comer to Doctor Who, and after spending years of watching New Who, I still had no idea about the Daleks' creation, so when I found out this issue had already been covered, I was intrigued. So I went out, bought the DVD, watched it, and loved it. And what I really like about this story is that even after the Fourth Doctor tells Davros what the Daleks will become, Davros is still willing to go ahead with his creation because that was his true intentions all along. Proving a rather harsh reality that sometimes people are just born evil. So there it is, my top 13 episodes from the Philip Hinchcliffe era. Do you agree with my choices? If not, why not comment below and tell me about your favourite episodes?